going on, Jerome's? Minnesota Vikings back at it. TCO Performance Center Bar and Grill Monday walkthrough and 3 days of practice, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, ahead of traveling to Philly for the final preseason game. Vikings got 2 in the books. Just wrapped up a stanza against the Browns, joint practice, as well as the Vikings eating a W on the road against Jameis and the Browns, even though Jameis didn't play. Neither did Watson. But Kevin O'Connell fed the local media jackals ahead of the walkthrough and had some stuff and some things to talk about, notably Stephon Gilmore. Baby, you're all that I want. Rocking the 2-3, the best 23 to ever do it. The LeBron haters, the LeBron lovers will be sorely disappointed. Happens, man. Happens. So a couple takeaways from the O'Connell presser. Obviously excited about Stephon Gilmore, and now he's comfortable with the cornerback room. Also mentioned that the Vikings cornerback room, it's not going to be so cut and dried, and the Vikings could keep a little. He didn't say in so many words, but the Vikings could keep a few more corners than you would expect. But basically, he talked about how different styles, different matchups, etc. So, the Vikings cornerback room, I kind of like where it currently is at. It's probably the best that they could have done, given everything that's gone down. So, also, you mentioned how they were interested in Gilmore in free agency last year before he signed his 1-year deal with the Cowboys. Plus, talked about his experience with flow is obviously important, but also experience with different schemes. This is his 5th team in the last 5 years. That's a plus, and he's a pro's pro. And he talked about, Gilmore's not going to play in the final preseason game, but they got 3 weeks to get ready for the Giants, get him up to speed, get him in the game shape, etc. Also, new Vikings wide receiver / kick return Justin Hall, the pride of Ball State University, Balso State University, as well as UFL superstar. O'Connell said they actually worked him out a couple times, so this time they got him here in the building. And also, O'Connell made a point, hey, there's still a lot of work to do. Even though 53-man cutdowns will be on Sunday after the final preseason game, these guys can still make an impression. And also, the impression isn't just for making the 53 or initial practice squad. It could be a little bit later on in the season. Maybe they're brought back, or maybe they put on some good tape, or maybe they do enough here in practice where coaches and evaluators, they put in a good word with some other teams. So it's certainly a lot of work to be done this week. Also, awesome news. Shaq Griffin is going to be working back in at practice this week. He popped his hamstring second day of training camp. It's been a little bit frustrating, but ideally, the Vikings cornerback room headed into week 1. Danny Dimes serving up a couple pick sixes. Stephon Gilmore and Shaq Griffin on the outside, around the outside, as well as Byron Murphy Jr. in the slot. So overall, that's a veteran trio. And I kind of like where the secondary is headed and where the way it's shaping up right now. Happy with the Browns game. They like the 2 physical joint practices, as well as obviously the results in the game. Now, the starters didn't play, except for Ed Ingram. So the starters didn't play against the Browns, but he was happy schematically, as well as the physicality that they brought both sides of the ball. Plus, he mentioned that they won the turnover battle. It's almost like that's just ingrained in his memory banks from last year, man. And then also, talk about Lewis Seen, how he really commended Six for the way that he was legally violent and prepared and just playing fun, fast, free football. Plus, he talked about Seen's journey, and I feel like this doesn't get talked about enough. So obviously the injury is a huge factor, but also the litany of other injuries that he's had that's really put him behind the 8 ball in training camp and missing out on some of those reps. But also, the change of scheme from Donatel to Flores. Now, obviously, it was the same for everyone else on that defense, but that does impact especially a young player coming into the league. He was a true junior coming out of Georgia, and also a guy who physically, was behind because of the lack of reps because of that compound fracture. So I don't know what the future is going to be with Lewis Seen. Who knows if he's going to be on the Vikings 53? Who knows if he'll be traded? But I'm happy to see him getting off the mat and putting in some good work and actually having fun again. Because you got to imagine, being a first-round pick and hearing all the biz from the fans, the first 2 years had to be tough, man. Had to be really rough. Also, freaking Judd. Obviously, had to be asked about the Tua Brian Flores comments, and O'Connell had a really good response, and this was compiled by Kevin Seifert, who's not Carl Gershmidt. Kevin O'Connell said this on Tua's Comments about Brian Flores. I don't particularly have a comment on something that took place on another team, or I don't like to comment on comments of other players on other teams. But I can tell you, I know that players Flo works with. He's got great relationships here. He really has. I know Minnesota reporters have heard a lot of them talk about how much they enjoy playing for him, Flores, and how much I enjoy working with him every day. And that's all I can really comment on, and I just like to leave it at that. So, diplomatic, high road route. The Kevin Collins got to be a little bit pissed about that, right? So obviously, he and Flores do have a good working relationship. Every single Viking here has had positive things to say about Flores, and even like going back to the Dolphins and the Patriots, like. Obviously, they see Flores as a bit of a hard ass, but they respected him, right? And players, you're never going to be universally liked, but sort of is what it is. But we'll move on. And I'm just waiting because it looked like Flores popped in like the Chris Long podcast, which was at TCO today. I was just like, baby, like Flo was gonna dish, but Flores is scheduled to talk to the media tomorrow, so. He's going to get up there. He's going to compliment Tua. He's going to take the high road, and that's that. But obviously, that's the classy and correct thing to do. But part of me just wants him to be like, hey, listen here, you lefty MFer. Hey, without my tough love, you wouldn't be where you're at right now. I'm sorry that the first 2 years that we were here, we didn't have Tyreek Hill. All of a sudden, you magically get better once you get Tyreek Hill. Look at that. La-di-da. Also reunited with Waddle. La-di-da. Nah, he'll say, Tua was a great player, and I thought that we had some good growth together, and you're not going to see eye to eye with everyone, but I'm wishing him all the best. That's it. That's exactly what Florida's going to say tomorrow. But anyways, your thoughts are thoughts. Kevin O'Connell, Monday presser, feeding the local media jackals. Let us know your thoughts, our thoughts, comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes on Support the Work. Put a little something in the Venmo, but till next time, Skol, production value.